The Player's Handbook for 2024. Wow, 50 years of this game. It's brought so much joy. Yeah, probably caused a few arguments along the way, but this is our chance to look at where we're at now. Playing the game chapter seems like a decent place to start now. I know a lot of you will already know this inside and out, so we're not going to linger too long on it. But it sets the scene, as we do in D&D I suppose. Are you a player or a DM? It talks about the fact that games can take ages. Like, people think that 4 hours is a long single game of Monopoly, but when people say how long does D&D take, it's like 9 months. So we don't need to linger on this really. This is the rules as you would understand it. Exploration, light levels, hiding, the hazards, the travel, combat, the order of combat. Things like mounted combat and underwater combat are those things that you generally find at a lighter date, but here it all is. Damage and healing, hit points. Right, next chapter. Creating a character. This is kind of the cornerstone of what the Player's Handbook is for. And rightfully so, we go to session 0, mentioned there. Get a rough idea of the kind of person you want to play. Here's a class overview table, nice. And I always thought it was quite fundamental to have a party of different flavoured people. A cleric, always have a rogue, always have a... But now I wonder what 4 different wizard builds would be like to run, you know. So this is quite a big change. The backgrounds and the way that things give you parts of your character might be different from the 2014. Just the variety of languages shows that the scope of this game, you know. You have options to get to your character scores, standard array or point by or whatever. I guess the next thing would be multi-classing. Yes, they cover that. And then trinkets. A nice trinkets table. D100, which is useful for a DM anyway, but you can start with a trinket. Start with several trinkets. I mean, then weave a story of your times before we discover you with those items. 1 improvement. Thanks. The list of classes and subclasses. Nicely plotted out, clean artwork, yes. Sleekly laid out, certainly in here on the PDF. Your tables, which, you know, used to look so confusing, now just make sense. I mean, because of our experience of having run the game a few times. I still find a lot of the player stuff surprising, I guess is the word, because I just don't play in that way. I am a DM through and through. So yeah, we fall through to wizards finally, and we can just move on. Backgrounds, you get a feat, proficiencies, tool proficiencies, you even get the tool included. These are all good additions, I feel. They've tried to flavour out which of these backgrounds grant you what story. So that's a notable good thing, I would say. Feats, love them or hate them, we have more feats now as well, but well laid out in this long table. And I've done shorts on them because I wanted to know for myself, not that I memorised them, but I wanted to know for myself what they were all about so I could do some more research. Now luck points aren't just 3, they're up to 6 if you're high enough level, and that has helped my players out a great deal. Then we've got fighting style feats, nicely laid, epic boon feats, which are nice, which we get at level 19 now, but also if you're levelling up beyond 20, which you can homebrew, just keep giving them a boon. The equipment section, I don't particularly stress about anything other than gold, generally speaking, in my table games. These are nice weapon tables also. Now it has the new weapon masteries. I am not a huge fan, but I've spoke about that. It's the movement, it's the way that they move my enemies around I don't like. Armour is effectively exactly the same, but we get some nice art now. Yeah, when they find armour, does it fit? Do they have to craft it to fit? Does it magically fit? I guess that's up to you. Tools, all the different tool supplies, what they do, very nice. Adventuring gear, really useful. Does it have chalk? It doesn't have chalk, wow. Just goes through each item, so clear. I will sit and read the PHB to take this all on board. Mounts and other animals and vehicles, I was always really interested in that when I got into D&D. Especially the airborne vehicles really appealed. Services, hire some people to do your dirty work for you. Staying at inns, hirelings, spellcasting services, that's, great. It's inspiring to see in text, so you're like, oh yeah, I could do that. Crafting items, it's okay. It's better than what we had. Spell scroll costs, that helps. So, little gaps here and there that we had that are now able to be referred to in the book. Just stuff like this that as a DM I never get a handle on, but this is a nice reference point. Spell preparation, always prepared. Casting in armour, casting without spell slots. And then yes, the much needed list of spells, which I think we all refer to, certainly in my games. Then onto the multiverse again, which I find most intriguing. Transitive planes. No more shadow weave, of course, but I want to look into the specifics of that. The alignment, I don't really go much by that as regarding the outer planes. A few start blocks which were nice to see, we covered in the monster manual. And a rules glossary, I mean, yeah, nice abbreviations. And then this I've already used probably a handful of times. When you're looking up new rules for suffocating or stunned, exhaustion, and the tweaks of terminology like emanation. Grappled and grappling still trips people up because they get it mixed up with restrained, like you can't use your hands or you can't attack. The PHP is just the most used book at our table, and I probably look in it every week, even as a DM. It's probably the book that is worth the money. Like, as soon as I got the PHP, I've never looked at the old PHP, and I looked at that weekly. So I believe that if you're serious about D&D, that's the only book you need. If you're a player, you should have that, if you're invested in the game. So they're already saying there'll be extra books, like the Eberron book will have certain races or certain species or whatever that's only in that. The Drow will be in the Forgotten Realms book. So they're cleverly spreading out things so you need extra books. But it's a business at the end of the day. But if you've got the old PHP and the new one, I think you're done. Infinite worlds can be created from those books, and all our lives are enriched for it.